Yo, what's up guys, Mavis, and now here today I'm gonna be showing you how to make a tool shop in Roblox. So basically, if you have enough currency, you can basically just buy a tool, and yeah. So a lot of people think this is very hard to make, but actually it's pretty easy to make. So let's begin. So first thing I'm gonna do is create the GUI for the shop. I'm gonna make like a nice button right here, then make it a nice blue color at the UI corner. Nice. That shop button is what it's gonna be called. So there, shop. There we go. So that's a nice UI right there. So now let's make a frame for the shop. There we go. Put it right in the middle. I'm using a plugin that auto scales GUIs. So size it in scale, anchor point center by default, text scale by default, and remove border size pixels by default. So now in this UI designed by Stelrec, I'm gonna select it and I'm gonna call it shop frame. Nice, shop frame. And we're gonna make it blue again, and then we're gonna roundify it so it looks like this. Alright, that's looking pretty alright. Now we're gonna make a title that's gonna show like shop on top. Boom. Shop. If you already have the UI, just skip to this part in the video. So yeah. And also, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to like and subscribe and click that bell so you can notify whenever I upload again. So let's continue this. So now I'm gonna add a scrolling frame. Make it like this. Yeah, that's actually we're gonna do like this, and then right here is gonna be like an info frame where you can show like info about the weapon. So there. So now we can scroll stuff, and I'll call it items. And then I'm gonna add a text button. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it a nice blue color like this. And then UI corner 12. Actually, let's do like 50. That's a nice roundify. Then I'm gonna add a UI grid layout. Let me just make this like 24. So now every time we like duplicate something, it makes it like a grid. So I'm gonna do like 15. So it goes a bit like this. It gets less, but it looks pretty nice. And the layout order is going to be by name. So if it starts with an A, the A goes all the way above. And if it starts with Z, it goes all the way down. So then I'm going to remove the text. I'm going to add a viewport frame so you can see how the tool looks. Here we go. And then make the background transparency to 1, and I'm gonna call this item view. This will be called template, because basically what we are doing in replicate storage, we're gonna have a folder of all of the items, and in the script we're gonna get all of those items and create an individual button for them, and so we don't have to keep on creating another one, putting that in and stuff. So we're gonna code the info later, but I'm gonna quickly do like this. Oh. It's a nice scale. And then I'm gonna call it info. Then I'm gonna add a viewport frame. Bam. Make a nice blue color. Then add a UI corner to this. So actually, there we go. Then I'm gonna call it item view. And then I'm gonna add a text label. This will be the name. There we go. So this will be like Doka 1. And then I'll call it like, put the text like that or something. And I'll call this item name. And then item price. So this part is optional, but I'm gonna put it like right here, and this will be item info, so it gives a bit of info about an item. There we go. And we'll put a text button. Not gonna make it like very complicated UI. Then there. Add a UI corner. And I'll call this like purchase button. So we'll make text. Let's make it a nice Oswald. Bam. And it will say purchase. Alright, so now we have a frame. So now what we are gonna do is make our item. So first thing I'm gonna do is unvisible this, and I'm gonna create a local script in the shop button. Call this open script. Now this script will handle whenever you press the button, it will open and close it. Open and close the frame. So we're gonna do script.parent quick connect function. Then script.parent the colon 5 for shop frame. The visible equals not script the parent 5 for shop frame the visible. So basically what this code is doing is whenever it's gonna detect whenever we click this button right here, this shop button, and then once we click it, we're gonna set the shop frame's visibility to what it's not. So basically the opposite. So if we click it, then it turns true, so then you can see it right here. And then when they click it again, it turns false. So basically whatever it's not. So if we test this real quick, bam, bam, bam. As you can see, you can now open and close it. So yeah, that's working. So now we're gonna code the data that will show our cache, and later in the video we'll code the data stores so we can actually save how many cache the player has. So let's start. I'm gonna call this data handler, and I'll do local player service game get service players, and I'll do players service the player added connect function player. So whenever a player joins the game, we're gonna run this code, and we're gonna define the player that joined as player. So then we're gonna do local leader stats equals instance.new folder, and then leader stats.name equals leader stats, and then leader stats.parent equals player. So basically what we are doing is we're creating a new folder called leader stats, then we're putting it into the player. So then we're gonna do local cache equals instance.new number value. So basically what a number value is if I insert one real quick, number value. So basically it has a value of a number, as you can see. Yeah. So then we're gonna call this cache.name equals cache, and then cache.value equals 0. So we're gonna quickly start them off with 0, and then cache.parent equals leader stats. So we're creating a new number value called cash, and we're putting it into the leader sets. So if we quickly test this out, as you can see, we have in our player list cash, and if I quickly switch to server, and in my leader stats, as you can see, I have the cash, and if I put it to like 36 or something, as you can see, and I'll have 36. So that's the data handler. Now we're gonna actually make our weapons. So I'm gonna add this sword from Roblox, this working pistol, and I'll have like this blue hyper laser gun. And then I'll have let's just do like a what is it called again? Like, let me just search up sword. Here, a sword of Azurath. I don't know if this works. And most of the time, doesn't work. This item because it's very old. So, in replicate storage, we're gonna add a folder, and I'll call this items. So this is where all the items will go. So we're gonna bring all the items and put it in there. So now we can't see it. So inside of every item, you're gonna add a number value called price, and this is how much you want every item to cost. And if you also added the part where we put the info of the item, then you're gonna also add a string value, and then this will be called info. And on the Zor sword, we're gonna do very bright but beautiful color dot. So then I'm gonna copy and paste this into every item. So the sword, I want it to cost 50 cash, and it's called very classic. And then we'll duplicate this again and put it in the handgun. And I'll do like just the gun, and then a noise symbol or something, and put the price at like, I don't know, 5 coins or something, cash. And then the hyper laser gun, we'll put this to like 100. And coolest gun I've ever seen. Now I just put like this. So if you don't want your currency to be called cash, call it like coins or something. But I'm gonna do cash to keep it simple. So now in replicate storage, well now since we have all the essentials, we're gonna start coding the main code. So what we're gonna do is in replicate storage, we're gonna add a remote function. Now basically what a remote function is, let me pull something up. Alright, so as you can see, I have this form right here called remote functions and events. So this will talk about remote events and remote functions. So technically remote events are client to server, server to client, server to all clients, and client to clients. So say we like want to equip something, so instead we're gonna so basically an exploiter can like try and purchase something, and they set their cache through locally, because every script injector is client-sided. So basically why we're using remote functions and remote events and stuff is so they might change their cache cliently to like 100, and that's enough for like the laser gun, but we're gonna check in the server if they have enough cache and stuff, and so they can't change anything on the server, and then even though they have 100 cache, it's not changed on the server, so that means they still don't have enough. So remote functions are client to server to client, and server to client to server. So basically, it's the same as remote events. It sends over some data about something, but then a remote function returns some data back. So basically, we're gonna do like, if they have enough cash and they don't have it in their inventory, then we're gonna just return true because they don't have that stuff. So then when we return true, it's gonna say successfully purchased and stuff. But if anything of those is incorrect, so they do have it in their inventory and but they don't have enough cash, it's gonna return false and say like failed to purchase. And the same with if they have not enough, if they have enough cash, but they don't have it, and they don't, but they oh my god, and they do have it in their inventory, it's gonna immediately return false because they already have it. And so then it'll also say failed to purchase. So yeah, let's start coding it. So I'm gonna call this purchase item, and inside of server script service, I'm gonna make a script and call it shop server. And inside of the shop GUI, I'm gonna add a local script and I'm gonna call it the shop client. So this will be the shop's client inside it. So it detects when a local player presses the button, and then the server's gonna check if they have enough cash and stuff through here. So it's gonna say, and so it's gonna start running this code, and then it's gonna start running this code again. Alright, so we're gonna define a view variable. So we're gonna do local replicated storage equals game get service replicate storage, and we'll do local player service equals game get service players. I'll do local player equals player service dot local player. If you ever try getting the local player from the server, this will not work because local player only works on the client because the server controls the entire server. So when we do local player, we do not know which player that is. So then we're gonna also do local shop frame, so script up and shop frame, local items frame equals shop frame find first child items, and we're gonna do local info frame equals shop frame find first child info, and we're gonna do local template equals items frame find first child template. So we're gonna define a few variables for some UI, and then we'll do like, I think that's it. So now we're gonna get every item. Well, actually, since we're talking about the items, we have to do local items folder equals replicate storage find for child items, and local purchase item rf, so remote function, equals replicate storage find for child purchase item. So now, since we defined those variables, we're gonna loop through the entire folder, so that we're gonna check every child inside of it. So we're gonna do for underscore comma item in pairs items folder get children do. So for every item inside of the items folder, we're gonna do if item is a tool and item find first child price, then so we're gonna check if the item is a tool, and inside of the item they have something called price. Then we're gonna do local new template equals template colon clone. So we're gonna make another one of the templates, and we're gonna do new template name equals item.name. So we're putting the name of the template. So if I quickly do that parent equals items frame. So if we quickly play and we check inside of here, as you can see, oh, would you look at that? How about we just do like this? That'll be a little better. Okay, so slight issue. You also need to put the template to visible to true because it wouldn't show then. Okay, so this is while editing me right here. So basically, you can see it if we just play and we go to our player GUI, shop GUI, shop frame and items. As you see, we can see our stuff here, and it has to be on the client or else it won't change because we changed it on the client. So just to let you guys know, let's continue the video. So if we quickly play and we open the shop, as you can see, we see as many items in here as we see in here. There's 5. Okay, so I think I know the problem. So if I quickly put the visible of the shop frame, yes. Alright, so put the template visibility to false, and then there. Alright, so now we're gonna do new item. So we're gonna now put the item viewport as the item. So we're gonna do local clone item equals item colon clone, and then clone item the parent is equal to new template find first child item view, and we're gonna do local new fake camera equals instance.new camera. So basically what a view per frame is that it's basically you can see. So if I quickly put this in here, so if we put the C frame to this and we put our camera that's the C frame, and we put it right here and we put it in the item viewport, it basically shows this. So it basically shows like a tool or object inside of a UI. So that's pretty useful, honestly, than just taking images, because then you keep on having to take images and that will just get boring. And so then the script does it automatically for you, and even if you change anything, it does not like you don't have to change the image again. So then we're gonna do fake camera dot C frame equals C frame dot new and clone item find first child handle comma C comma clone item find first child handle. Also right here put position dot C frame dot look vector times 3 comma clone item. So basically this again. So now we create a new C frame and put the camera C frame to we basically put the C frame to just where is it? To right here. And so then what we are gonna do is we're gonna do fake camera apparent equals this again, And then we're gonna do the current camera from the viewport frame equals fake camera. So now if we quickly test this out, alright, so I got it working right here. So now you can see like your weapons. So basically I did a comma right here instead of a plus. So do a plus symbol right there. So now we got all the weapons showing. So now we're gonna encode the info thing. So yeah, we're gonna do new template mouse button one click connect function. So whenever they press the template, we're gonna do info frame find first child, item view current camera. Actually, first thing we need to do is info frame find first child, item view, clear all children. In case we are reselecting one, we are gonna clear everything inside of there. And then the current camera equals the fake camera again, so we don't have to create a new camera. Never mind, we do have to create a new camera. We do create new cameras up in this.
Here we go.
Item 2. So that should work. Hopefully. Please work. Yay! Now we can see stuff. For some reason it does that. That's not good. Let's just instead of that, we're gonna clone the handle. Let me do this, this, and this. We're gonna clone the handle so we don't get all that UI and stuff. Remove that. Remove that. Remove that. Alright, there we go. Play there. So now it looks a bit better now. Alright, and we're gonna do item frame or info frame find first child, item name dot text equals item dot name, and info frame find first child item price text equals item find first child price dot value. So I'm gonna redo this, and then item info, then info. So now if we try this, as you see, it now changes to our name, our price, and our info. That's pretty cool, if you ask me. And then we're gonna do info frame find first child purchase button dot mouse button one click connect function. So whenever they press the purchase button, we're gonna do local results equals purchase item rf invoke server. So we're gonna send over item.name. So we're gonna send over the item's name, and then we're gonna do if result is equal to true, then the purchase button. So if everything goes good, we're gonna do the text is successfully purchased, and then wait 2 seconds, and then the text equals purchase. But else if result is equal to false, then we're gonna do failed to purchase, and we're also gonna put the background color 3 from RGB. So we're gonna make it a red color, then wait 2 seconds, put it to purchase, put the background color 3 equals color 3 from RGB this. So that's it for the changing the button. So now the only thing we have to do is the shop server. Now let me tell you, the shop server is probably the easiest one of them all. So except for like the open script and stuff. So let's do game get servers update storage find first child purchase item. The on server invoke equals function player comma item name. So basically why we're also getting the player is because whenever a client invokes or fires to the server, it immediately gives out the player that fired it. So basically, yeah, it's pretty easy. And then we're gonna do local item equals game get source replicate storage find first child items find first child item name. So if item and not player dot starter gear find first child item name. Then so if the item is a real item and it's not in the player's starter gear, so basically what a starter gear is what the player starts with when they respawn or their player character gets added. And we also don't know if it's in the player's character or if it's in the player's backpack, because if we equip it and it's inside of our character, and if we unequip it, it's inside of our backpack. But if it's in starter gear, it never changes. So then we immediately know if they have it in starter gear, then yeah. So basically starter gear is inside of here. So yeah. So then we're gonna do else return false. So if anything goes wrong in this, then we'll return false. And if item find first child price, then else return false. And if player dot leader stats dot cash dot value is above or equal to the price that value, then so if they have enough, else return false. If they have enough, then we'll immediately just return true, and we'll do local clone item equals item clone, and then clone item dot parent equals player dot backpack, and then we'll do the same thing but with 2 in front of it, and then put it in starter gear. So then we have it in our starter gear and in our backpack. So that's nice and easy. So now let's test this out. So if I quickly switch to the server, if you want to change it, do not change it in the client or else it won't work. So if we change our cash to like 5,000 and we go in here and we purchase this, actually successfully purchased, then we get our item. It's pretty cool. And if we try and purchase it again, it says failed to purchase because we already have the item, but we forgot to take away the cash. So what we do is we do player.leader stats cash value minus equals the value of the price. So if we test it out now, and let me quickly change it to cash again. It's 5,000. And then if we buy like the hyper laser gun, actually it takes it away, and we have the gun now. And if we just want to buy these, so now we have our items, all our items. It took away all of our cash, and now we can't purchase any of these. As you see. So now we have a working shop. So let's start coding the data store. Alright, let's start. Alright. So inside of the data handler, we're gonna do local data store service equals gain get service data store service. Then we're gonna do local data store equals data store service get data store. Then I'll call this currency data store. But you can call your data store whatever you want, because basically we are creating a new data store, and this is where all players' cash and stuff will be saved. And I'm gonna call the data store currency data store. If people have data saved and you change the name, their data will their data will change. So if they had like 5,000, if you change the name and save that, they have 0 again. So then we're gonna do local players left equals 0, and then we'll do players left plus equals to 1, because basically what we are doing is we're counting up the players, and if there's only one player and the server's about to shut down and there's more than one player, it's gonna stop the shutting down, and then it's gonna continue shutting down whenever all players' data have been saved. So then we're gonna do local cache data, and let's leave that as a blank variable. Then we'll do pcall function, because basically a pcall function is where we fire a function, but if something goes wrong, like data stores are down or something, it doesn't immediately break the entire script. And so then we're gonna do cache data equals data store get async. Then we're gonna put it as a player's key, so player.user ID hyphen cache. So we're gonna make a new key on the player, and it's gonna be their user ID. So it's gonna be like this. Zero, technically. And then we're gonna do if cache data is not equal to nil, then cache.value equals cache data. So we're checking if the cache data is not nothing. So nil basically means no value. But if they do have something stored, we're gonna set it. but else if they don't have anything, we're gonna do player.name as no cache. Alright, so now we just finished the loading. So we're gonna, basically right here, we're gonna get a player's key. And every time we create a data store, every player that ever played will have a key called cache. And then we can change this variable on a player to whatever their data is. So, down here, we're gonna start by saving the data. So whenever they leave, we're gonna quickly put their key value as how much they have, and then next time they join the game, we set that amount. It's basically how it works. So then we're gonna do local bindable event equals instance.new bindable event, because we really do not want our players to get their data corrupted. Because say they are like very rich in the game or something and they have a lot of coins, but something went wrong, it's gonna immediately be put it as nil again, so no cache, and then they basically lose everything they have. They will be very angry then. So then we're gonna do oh geez, I thought there was a bug on my table. Then we're gonna do player server as player removing connect function player. So whenever a player is leaving, we're gonna detect the script. So we're gonna do pickoff function and data store set async player.user_id .hyphen_cache comma player.leader_sets.cache.value. So basically what we are doing is whenever they're leaving, we're setting their key as player.user_id -cache and then the amount of cache they have. Then we're gonna do players left minus equals to 1, and then bindable event fire, and then we'll print saved. So whenever they leave, we're setting their value, then we're removing one player's left, and then we're gonna quickly fire the bindable event just in case they're like the last player. So now we're gonna get into that part where it's basically a corruption and anti-corrupt data corruption. So we're gonna do game bind to close function. So basically this will run whenever the game is about to close, and then we're gonna do while players left is above 0 do. So if the game is shutting down and while the players left is above 0, then we're gonna get that bindable event, and we're just gonna keep on waiting. And then we keep on waiting and waiting and waiting until it's below 0, and then we can shut down the game. So that's basically how we save data, boys. So if you want to actually test this, you have to publish the game. You must have a publishing game. So I'm gonna call this shop tutorial. Create that. So now we have a game. But if you wanna test this in Studio, you have to go to game settings, security, and turn on API services. So if we play, and as you see, it immediately says Mevisan now has no cache because we don't have any. So let's give ourselves 250 cache or something, and then we're gonna leave the game and then rejoin technically, and actually we now have 250 cache. So that's how you make a shop system, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified whenever I make a video. And if you want to see more YouTube tutorial or scripting tutorials by me, you could check out my channel. So I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.
Amogus.